Hello, welcome everybody. This is Evergreen Living TV. How are you doing? How are you today? I hope everybody is doing okay. Yes. First of all, I want to apologize for last week. I didn't come online. I was so busy. But here I am. So we're going to just be doing the needful. So let me share our program. Let me just share. Let me share. So how are we? How are we? I want people to come in. Yeah. So, okay. Share. Share. Okay. Hello. Please like. Welcome. We are live. Yes, I'm just trying to share. Please bear with me. Yes. Yeah. Right. Share again. I'm trying to share. Please bear with me. Some people are like, they just wait for me to share before. Who is the next person to share with? Oh dear. Okay. Anyway. Right. Okay. So I want to share the number. To call so that I do everything at the same time before I start talking. Just share the number. Okay, so the number to call plus, where is the plus? Plus 44 744 07 87 281 plus 44 744 078 7281. Okay. Right. That's the number is there. The number is there. Okay. So how are we? Welcome. Can you tell me welcome? Can you type and tell me welcome? Wow. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Johnson. Welcome to my program. So can you like, as you're coming, can you hit the like button? So by hitting the like button, other people, it will tell other people that we are online. So if you just put like, that will be splendid. That will be great if you touch the like. Yes, so right. The gadgets, every gadget. So okay, that's the live chat. Okay. Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety, you know, the topics that we treat in this channel, Evergreen Living TV, is not it's not just any topic. These are very topical, you know, discussions, things that pertains our life, things that pertain our everyday life, and things that will really benefit us. And in most cases, when I think about it, and then I just come to put it out there, so that even if people are not many watching it at that present, then later on, it might benefit a lot of people. So that's exactly the reason for this program. And especially awareness for our people, you know, to know one thing or the other. So today, we're going to talk about depression. So many people are depressed without knowing that they are depressed. You know, because of the way it sounds, many people feel, oh, depression is a mental health issue. I really don't want to talk about it. I really don't want to, you know, I accept that something like this is happening in my life. Many people do not want to kind of associate themselves with depression. But I want to tell you a secret today, that as the body suffers from one condition or the other, so the brain can as well suffer from one condition or the other. So the illness of the body is just, you know, when you are sick, when you have headache, or when you have tummy ache, or when you have, you know, something happening to your physical body. That's exactly how something can happen to your brain. So brain health is equally very important, if not the most important, because if somebody loses their sanity, I don't think the person is living in this world, you know. But when people think about, you know, depression, when people think about anxiety, when people think about all those things, they take it that they don't want to associate themselves with such things without even knowing that they might probably be depressed. So today we're going to be touching different symptoms, certain symptoms, you know, that will, is kind of a telltale sign that someone is depressed. So before we talk about such telltale signs, you know, that will make somebody to know that they are depressed, we're going to talk about the reason why one can be depressed. Only being in this world is enough to depress somebody. When you hear wars, when you hear injustices, when you hear rumors, when you hear when somebody is being treated badly, when you hear country treating another country badly, when you hear, you know, people treating other people because of the color of their skin, because of the way they speak, because of the way they look, when you see people being treated like that, it's enough for somebody to be depressed, you know. But the chief among everything is the reason why generally people get depressed. Number one, when someone is bereaved, that's the loss of a loved one, loss of a mother, loss of a father, loss of a husband, loss of a wife, loss of children, loss of, sisters, brothers, siblings, loved friends, even pets, such a loss can make someone to be depressed. Honestly, obviously, such a loss can make someone to be depressed. And so many people went through depression, came out of it without even knowing that they went through depression. Many people, majority of people, especially people who are in the developing world, where there is no help, where there is no therapy, people just go through it, and thankfully many of them recover. Sadly, many of them died out of it. Sadly, many of them are on the streets because of no help. You get me? So many people have gone through depression without knowing. So you see, when you lose a loved one, that is a straight ticket to depression. That is a straight ticket to anxiety. A straight ticket. Because you cannot make head or tail of whatever that is happening. You cannot find answer to whatever that is happening. You just, kind of, what is going on? You ask yourself, you ask the doctor, you ask the pastors, you ask your imam, you ask your spiritual leaders, you ask each and every one of them. Why are you asking? You just want to know. You just want to find out. You just want to find the answer why this thing happened. But unfortunately, at that moment, nobody will be able to give you an answer. Because a lot of people that moved to the great beyond, they didn't come back. So nobody can kind of empirically, that is, able to explain to you why a loved one died. Many people will tell you, oh, it's the will of God. And you will start asking yourself, if it is the will of God, why did God create that person? So with all these things going on in your mind, one can be depressed. One can be depressed. And that's exactly the reason why I said that, many people go through depression without knowing it. So that's a chief example of the reason why someone can be depressed. So if you are bereaved, or if you know somebody who is bereaved, you really need to watch that person closely, because the person is just, a whisk away to depression and anxiety. It is very common. It is not abnormal. It is something that is common. I will be surprised if somebody who is bereaved did not suffer from depression. I will be surprised. But some people are, made strong and rugged. And again, it's not everybody that lost someone you will get depressed, because it depends on the relationship between that person. So bereavement or loss of loved ones, it varies from one person to the other. It varies from relationship to the other. Maybe some people are so close, maybe some people are not so close, so just that, it depends on that. But it's based on individual differences. I cannot tell about your own, so it's you that knows. But here, we are here just to give you one or two, words that might help, and then to make you understand that you are not alone. So that's one. So another thing, that can make someone to be depressed is when the person, redundancy. Maybe in the office they made you redundant, or you lost your job, your means of livelihood, you are the breadwinner, or you are part of the breadwinner, you have a lot of people that you have to take care of, you have children, you have aged mother and aged father, you have a lot of siblings looking up to you, and your job, the only job that you do, is what you use to cater for all those people, to pay for house rent, to buy food and everything, and then you lose such job. So this is a straight ticket to depression and anxiety, especially when you don't have any other job on site. There is no help, you know. It's not in some places where maybe you lose your job, you get compensation, or you get paid off or something. You get me? So this can easily push someone into depression and anxiety. It can easily push someone into depression and anxiety, you know. So like I said earlier on, many people have gone through depression, many people have gone through anxiety without even knowing about it. It came, they dealt with it naturally, and it went. But many people didn't come out of it just because we were wired differently. So that's another thing that can make someone to be depressed or to be anxious. Loss of job, being made redundant. That's exactly, you know. So another thing again that can make someone to be depressed or to be anxious is stress. You know, in some offices or in some jobs, people are meant to how do I say it, to meet targets. You know, people are expected to meet targets. Let me take you know, an example is some people that work in the bank. You know, I'll just use some, you know, bankers that I know, friends of mine that are in the bank. Yeah, some of them are giving targets. You need to raise, you know, so and so amount of money within this month or within a week and so on. And then you know that your job is on the line because of that. So the person might have gone everywhere, tried everywhere to, you know, to raise the money. That's why many people, you know, go into we call it I think here when we were in school, we call it institutional prostitution. You know, because these women or these men going to get customers might fall into temptation in order to kind of get some funds for their organization or for their bank. They end up doing things that they don't want to do. You get me? And some people who might not want to do it will get into, you know, stressful situation, and that stress will lead to anxiety. That stress will lead to depression. You hear sometimes that, you know, they say that this banker just took his life, or this banker just took her life, or this person is working in a very big organization, the person just threw himself or herself from the ninth floor and so on. That is stress. That is stress led to anxiety and depression, and the person couldn't deal with it. So that's another reason why one can be depressed. That's another reason why one can be, you know, anxious. So another reason, you know, that one can be depressed or one can be, you know, suffer from anxiety is a divorce. You know, divorce of any kind. You know, there are some that, or let me call it generally, breakup. Although divorce is different from breakup, you know, because so, you know, relationship, people who are not married can can break up. It depends on how close they are, or, you know, one of them who might not want the relationship to end might start feeling depressed and anxious. That's why you hear that some people took their life because, you know, their boyfriend or their girlfriend left them. You know, so breakup of relationship can easily cause anxiety, can easily cause depression. So please, if you If you happen to be close to someone who is dealing with breakup, or who is dealing with relationship severance or something like that, don't start telling the person, oh, why are you feeling like that? Why are you feeling like this? That man that is not a good man, or that woman that is not a good woman, why are you feeling like that? Please, you really need to help that person. You really need to listen to that person. You really need to empathize with this person, because he or she is the one that wears the shoes. You might be seeing that man as being abusive, but she's not seeing that man like that. You might be seeing the woman as being rude, but he might not be seeing that woman as being rude, because only two of them know what they have in common. You know, that's why some people, even though you see that they're going through abuse, there are certain things that they hold on to that is keeping them in a relationship, that made them not to want to leave that relationship. And when you take that relationship away from them, they start suffering from depression, they start suffering from anxiety, and so on. The only thing you will do in order to amend that is to take them back to that relationship. Though with time, time will kind of make them to, to go through the mourning period and so on, and then they can get away from it. But at that period, when it is still very, 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 very raw, all you can give them is give them back that relationship. So breakup of relationship can easily push someone to depression and anxiety. The number to call, like I said earlier on, if you the number is there anyway. The number is there in the comment section. If you have one or two things to tell people about depression and anxiety, you can call us. If you've suffered from anxiety, if you've suffered from depression, and then you have an experience or something that will help people, you can call us and then, add. The reason why I keep talking is, just to educate people on what it is. But if other people want to speak, by all means, this is for all of us. You can easily call in and then speak to everybody. Okay. So I've talked about breakup of marriage. So another one is divorce. Breakup of marriage is not the same thing as divorce, because divorce has a lot of, it has a lot of kind of ups and downs. If someone is in a relationship and then the relationship breaks up, both of them can go their way. If they see any other partner or whatever, they can even get married. But for somebody who is in a marriage, you have to go through divorce before anything else. So, and the road to divorce is not easy. A lot of waiting, a lot of paperwork, and so on. A lot of sharing of the property, Maybe this man has worked so hard and, worked so hard and had, properties and so on, and then brought this woman. Maybe after a year, the woman said that he or she, she wants divorce. And then if it is in a civilized society, the property of this man had to be shared. I don't know if it's equal. I don't know how it's shared. So this can easily push a man into depression and anxiety, because the man is like, I have worked all my life, I have done this all my life, and this woman just came to swindle everything I have. And vice versa to women as well. Some women are really go-getters who have money, and they probably married a man who is, less wealthy. And something happened, the man had to share, in the wealth of this woman. So that's, divorce protocol, going through divorce stage by stage and so on, it can easily push someone into depression and anxiety. There are lots of things that can, even, let me tell you, even students, even primary school, secondary school, university, a lot of students fall into depression and anxiety because of stress of, school, stress of paperwork, stress of assignment, stress of all these things, to the extent that some students kill themselves. So you see, a lot of things can cause depression. And the thing is that majority of the developing world, parents, relatives, they don't really know anything about this depression and anxiety. So they don't know how to render help. They don't know how to talk to people who are suffering from it. Sometimes they release harsh words. Oh, you cannot do that. Yeah, is it not your mates that are there doing that exam? Why is it that your own is different? How can you not be able? And I have told you, if you don't do well in that exam, I'm not going to pay for your school fees again. If you don't do well in that exam, you're no longer my child. If you don't do well, and so on. So they're not even thinking about the state of mind, the mental state of mind of this child. I won't blame parents because they don't know. They really don't know that this is something that has to do with mental health, that the brain is not well. In the developing world, in most cases, they only know somebody who has a mental health issue when the person is a lunatic and running mad, and running naked on the streets. That's the only time they know that someone is mad. But I tell you that so many people suffer from mental health issue. Like my introduction said, that the body can suffer from ill health, the brain can suffer from ill health. It is all normal. Every human being in this life, one way or the other, must have suffered one mental health issue or the other and recovered. Nobody on earth will say that he or she has never suffered from headache or earache or ear or any body part that is not functioning well, and then you have to go to the hospital and you have to take medication and so on. And that's exactly how our mental health, that's exactly how our brain is. Sometimes our brain malfunctions. It is not a bad thing. It malfunctions, you can have medication and it starts working very well. So that stigma of the person is mad, that stigma of the person is depressed, that stigma of the person is mad should not continue. It should not continue, because that's exactly the reason why people don't want to seek for help when something is happening to them. And even sometimes when people start seeking for help, other people will be mocking them. You will see somebody who is writing something that is indicating that the person is depressed, is indicating that the person is suffering from anxiety, and they will be laughing at the person until that person takes his or her own life. They will start taking screenshots of that person's Facebook, of that person's WhatsApp, of that person's Instagram, of that person's everything. They will be munching it and saying, look at what she or he said an hour ago. Look at what he said yesterday. Oh my God, if I had known that this thing will happen, I would have reached out to her to help her. I would have reached out to him to help him. So I am telling you right now not to look down on somebody whom you think that the person is anxious or the person is depressed. So we're just painting a picture. We're just telling you the reason, some of the reason why someone can be depressed. Later on, we're going to talk about the symptoms of depression, the symptoms of anxiety. In fact, depression and anxiety, they work hand in hand. I think the depression is maybe a higher word. Anxiety is another one. So please, I just want people who will watch this or who are watching this to kind of try to help others or to help people that might be, depressed or going through depression or going through anxiety. So another thing that can cause depression and anxiety is money issue. Money matter. When somebody doesn't have money to take care of their immediate needs. A mother or a father doesn't have money to pay for the son's school fees, for the children's school fees, for the house rent, for whatever it is that is the immediate need. They don't have money to do that. That is an automatic ticket to depression and anxiety. automatic ticket, you know. So these are very few instances, you know. These are very few instances. Or not only, you know, even when you quarreling, probably, you know, you quarreling with your loved ones and so on, and that the person is giving you kind of a silent treatment, meaning the person is not talking to you, the person is ignoring you, you do everything, they are ignoring you and so on. It can lead to anxiety, it can lead to depression. It depends on how long that thing, you know, lasts. Somebody keeping malice, somebody not talking to you, you get to work, probably people are just blanking you, you say hello to people, they don't reply, you know. And you know, we spend most of our time in the office, we spend most of our time in at work. So this can really deplete your joy, this can really take away your joy, and then you start feeling like, you know, something else. You get me? So like, if you're watching me, if there is anything else that you feel that can cause depression or anxiety, you know, you can add, you can call us and add. Okay, all right. Oh dear. Okay, I want to call the number again, the number to call. I'm gonna call the number to call again. So the number to call, if you have your 2 cents to add, the number to call is +44 744 078 7281. +44 744 078 7281. Yeah, so this is the number to call if you really want to add to if you really want to add, right? So another thing I want to talk about is symptoms of depression and anxiety. That's why I said earlier on that many people have gone through depression, many people have gone through anxiety, many people have gone through all these things without even knowing it. So I'm just gonna give you a few signs, a few symptoms of depression, a few symptoms of anxiety, you know. So I really don't know if we will get to how to manage it. If we don't get to how to manage it, then you know that we have to have a part 2 of this program. But I just hope that we will be able to kind of squeeze it, you know. So you see, when you see someone who is easily wound up, very little thing you get upset, very little thing you get irritated, even when, you know, even when somebody play with you, you get irritated, you get upset, you get agitated, and the person is like, but this is just what I said. And the person doesn't mean any bad, the person doesn't mean any wrong. This is just something normal that you can deal with before, something very normal that you can deal with before, but at this time or at that time you're not able to deal with it. Every little thing irritates you. You need to check your anxiety level. You really need to check up if depression is setting in. Getting easily, that is getting touchy, you know. So another one, another symptom, you know, another symptom is getting easily tired. Getting easily tired, you know. sometimes you hear, I know in those days when we are growing up, you will hear our mothers, you will hear, some of them, they say that it's like the whole energy in them is drained out. It's like the whole energy is drained out. There's nothing, no strength, no energy inside. You won't be able to kind of function. You feel as if you have worked, you stood up for 10 days doing some work, and then you're so tired. Meanwhile, you didn't do any physical thing. That's why I said it, that, physical health is not anything different from mental health. Because you see, physical health, when you have carried something physically, when you have run, when you have done a lot of physical activities, you will feel so tired, as if somebody beats you up. You won't even be able to lift your body up. That's exactly how you feel when mentally you have exhausted your energy. A lot of things is in your brain. Your brain is doing a lot of processing. So that processing that your brain is doing is like your physical body carrying something. It's like your physical body, boxing. It's like your physical body jumping and so on. That's exactly what your brain is doing. But because you don't see your brain physically, the thing going on inside your brain that made you to be, that sapped all your energy, is just equivalent to something that is happening physically. You see? So, when the mind is sick, when the mind is troubled, when the mind is going through a lot of things, it is piling it up in the brain. And when the brain gets tired, it starts malfunctioning. And that malfunctioning of the brain comes in our physical body. So that's exactly why when one of the symptoms of depression and anxiety is tiredness, is lack of energy, is weakness. You feel so drained of everything in you. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that? Do you have a lot of things in your mind that you're processing and you're feeling the way that I'm just, describing? You're feeling irritated with everything. You're feeling drained and tired. You really need to check depression, anxiety. So another thing, another symptom of depression and anxiety is lack of concentration. You won't be able to concentrate in one thing. You won't even be able to sit still or sit steady. You won't be able to, even to write. Concentrate to do something, you won't be able to do it. You will lack concentration. That's another symptom of depression and anxiety. I tell you a story, just a tiny bit of story, because this next one, getting irritable, get irritated in every little thing. That's why, there's this thing called postnatal depression. It occurs when a woman, some women, after having children, they fall into, some of them, I'm not saying all, they fall into postnatal depression. And as a result of that, some women have killed their infant child. There was one that a few years ago that was going, was flying, everywhere in the social media. You see this young woman beating the child, the baby, beating the baby, take the baby by the leg and then hit the baby and so on. No woman who is okay, no woman who is sound will hurt their baby. Even a complete lunatic, mad person on the road, there, they don't hurt their babies. If you want to take their baby, they will come after you. But a depressed woman can hurt their baby. Because of what? You know, I'm not saying all, because it's one, you know, it's one of the symptoms of depression. And I'm just trying to, you know, elaborate and explain to you that some women, because of this depression, they hurt their babies. You know? So when the baby cries, they get irritated. When the baby wants to suckle, they get irritated. When the baby wants food, they get irritated. The baby, you know, does kind of, you know, the natural thing, they get irritated. And as a result of that, you know, their tolerant level is too shallow, that without, before you know it, they start beating the baby. Some kill their baby. Some hurt their baby. Depression, anxiety, not very good. So the reason why we are creating awareness as it is right now is, you might find somebody doing that without you knowing that the person is really not well, that the person really need help. You will say, oh, it's her baby, let her do to her baby whatever, you know. Is it not her baby? Depression and anxiety. Another one is depression and anxiety can, you know, can make one so irritable that a man will be using the wife and the children as a punching bag. Let me tell you one ugly truth. 90% of men who abuse women, if you go into their life and go into the medical history, they must have one mental health issue or the other. I am telling you the truth. It's either they have personality disorder, or it's either they have bipolar, or it's either very chronic depression, or other ones. But because in the developing world, mental health is not very well diagnosed. So a lot of people are mentally ill without taking medication, and they are just going there as if everything is okay. I remember one news I listened to few months ago. This news says that a police officer turned his gun and started shooting people. Do you know why? Because this police officer might be mentally ill, might be depressed, but because of lack of medical, you know, attention and so on, they didn't know that he was like that. And at the end of the day, he just took the gun and started killing people. You get me? So you can imagine such a police officer, what does he do to his wife and his children? He must be lion of the tribe of his children and his wife. Anxiety, depression, it is real. And very, 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 very much alive in our society. Very much alive. The reason why I'm creating this awareness is, when you hear this, you know the symptoms. And you know how to kind of call for help. Another symptom as well is headache and muscle ache. Just like I said earlier on, you remember I told you about body, you know, when the body is not well, probably because, you know, the person has you know, gone and did a, you know, a physical workout or did a physical work and so on, and the whole body is aching. But can you imagine that your whole body can start aching because of mental problem? Exactly. because the brain is not well. The brain has a lot of things to process. The brain has a lot of things that it doesn't have answers to. And because it doesn't have answers to all those things, it begins to kind of malfunction. And the load in the brain becomes too big that the body starts feeling the weight. And that's where the headache comes in. That's where the body ache comes in. That's where the whole body starts, the muscle everywhere starts paining so much that you will think that you have lifted, some big weights. But you haven't lifted any weight. You haven't touched anything. It's the brain which is telling you that, look, something is wrong. It's the brain telling you that something is wrong. So depression and anxiety is real. And I can assure you that 99.9% of people have suffered it without knowing that they did. Because, in most cases, when that problem goes off, the thing fizzles out. But some cases, when that problem, like the bereavement part of it, it doesn't go out. So some people suffer it all through their lives. So that's, headache, muscle ache, and so on. Pain all over the body. Pain all over everywhere. Your chest, your tummy, your muscle, your wrists, your joints, every part of your body aches. I know I'm talking to someone, because somebody might be, feeling it without knowing. You just like, but I haven't done any work. I haven't lifted anything. Why am I feeling so pain all over my body? One of the symptoms of depression and anxiety, I can assure you. So another one is a sleeping problem. This one is a common one. Very, very, very common. It's very common. So depression and anxiety, when one is depressed, it's very difficult to fall asleep. How can you fall asleep when the brain is awake? When the brain is awake, the brain is actually trying to figure out something. The brain is trying to figure out something. Why did this person die? Why should my husband leave me? Why should my wife leave me? What have I done wrong? What should I have done? Maybe I've made a mistake in this way. I shouldn't have done this. Oh, I wish that something like this happened. I remember, the time, because actually I suffered from depression. I suffered from anxiety when I lost my son. I really did. So, in those days, even if I take sleeping pills, I will not be able to sleep. I'm just trying to paint a picture to you who is watching and you who will watch later on, so that this will help you. Because the brain is not sleeping. It's because you're trying to find out answers. So part of the symptom is sleeplessness. You won't be able to fall asleep. There are a lot of things you're trying to make meaning of. There are some regrets. There are certain things like I said earlier on, in my day, when when it was happening to me, I will feel as if that let this life be kind of when you were in primary school, there's something we call blackboard. The board that you use chalk to write on it. So after writing on it, you take what is called duster, to clean it. You just wipe it off and start writing again. So I was thinking in those days that I wish that my life was like a blackboard, that I would have used a duster to dust everything, to wipe everything off, and then let me start afresh. Because if I start all over again, there are certain things that I did that I wouldn't have done. There are a lot of mistakes I made that I wouldn't have made. There are a lot of kind of relationship you got into that you wouldn't have done that. You get me? So when your brain is very, very busy trying to decode certain things, how can you sleep? You can't sleep. Even if you take sleeping pills, sometimes you won't be able to fall asleep, because it has happened to me. Sleeping pills cannot make me asleep, and I cannot take overdose, because you might take overdose and then die as a result of that. So you have to just take the specified dosage that you're supposed to take. But when you're suffering from depression and anxiety, in most cases, sometimes you might not even fall asleep with sleeping pills, because a lot of things is going on in your brain. So that's one of the symptoms. The reason why I am calling all these symptoms is because what I said earlier on, that some people are suffering from it without knowing. Because it's only when you know, then you seek for help. Because not seeking for help makes it degenerate into something else, and then the person, some kind of nerves or organ or whatever will go worse, and the person will be mad. So these are the symptoms. So another one about falling asleep is, there's one thing, falling asleep, and there's another thing, staying asleep. You might just fall asleep for maybe 10-20 minutes, and after 20 minutes you're awake. Let me tell you, during the time that I was suffering from depression and anxiety, that was exactly the time I found out on YouTube. I found out raindrop. There is this channels that you get raindrop. You just get the sound of rain. You hear the sound of rain, kind of falling and spattering on the zinc and so on the roof. Because I remember in the village when I was growing up, it's so nice when rain is falling. So when rain is falling in the night, it makes you to have a beautiful night's sleep. It helps you to sleep. You get me? So I just stumbled across this YouTube channel where they release rain, spattering rain on the roof. So I will put it just to feel, just to have that feeling of rain falling. Let me see if, as a result of this rain falling, whether I will be able to sleep. But when you are suffering from depression and anxiety, you won't be able to fall asleep. Even if you bring all the rain in the world, even if you bring all the rain from different centuries, you won't be able to fall asleep. So that's exactly another symptom. That's another symptom of depression and anxiety. Another one, very important, is nausea. You just feel, you feel as if you want to throw up. You feel as if you can imagine all these things just as a result of brain malfunctioning. When the brain is malfunctioning, the whole body is affected. So you feel as if you want to throw up. Your tummy will be, your tummy will be rumbling and rumbling and rumbling, and then you feel, sometimes you even throw up. Sometimes you even throw up. So these are symptoms of depression. These are symptoms of anxiety. You feel like throwing up. Another one, stomach upset. Your tummy, cramps. Sometimes women, you will think that is your menstrual cycle that is coming and so on, but no, it's actually not your menstrual cycle. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's part of the symptom. Stomach cramps, you feeling it, even everywhere you feeling cramps, you feeling cramps. Another very important one is lack of appetite. It works. I will talk the other one as well. Lack of appetite. You won't have appetite to eat. Your mouth will be so sour that you feel as if you ate something that nobody has ever eaten. I don't want to use foul language, but that's how it is. Your mouth will be so bitter. You don't want to even to drink water. You won't even remember where water is. You won't remember where water is because water will be tasting bitter in your mouth. That's another symptom. Your mouth will be so sour. That's another symptom. Right. So the last symptom is eating too much, overeating. Because some people will say, oh, somebody who is overeating, that the person doesn't have any problem. The person doesn't have any problem. The person, if you have a problem, you won't even have the mouth to eat. This is it. That's a lie. There are some people, the symptom of their own anxiety is called comfort eating. It's called comfort eating. They just, all they do is, if there is a fridge, they just go to the fridge. They keep opening the fridge and closing it, picking something up and eating it, going to the fridge, opening it, or going to the kitchen, And let me tell you, because they don't have strength, they don't cook. Some people end up ordering food. You see people, they eat a lot of pizza. You see people, they eat a lot of chicken and chips. You see people, they eat a lot of takeaways. You see people, they munch a lot of biscuits. They eat pastries. They drink, they drink soft drinks. They drink a lot of things. Then, some people will turn into alcoholism. They just want to have a lot of alcohol in order to numb whatever that is happening to them. So overeating and overindulging is as well, symptom of depression and anxiety. It's one of it's a chief symptom of depression and anxiety. There are so many of them. I just keep remembering there are so many of them. Not wanting to see somebody. The person, you wouldn't want to see anybody. You wouldn't want to have contact with anybody. You wouldn't want to meet anybody. You don't want anybody coming to your house, and you don't want to go to somebody's house. You don't want to pick your calls. You don't want to pick your calls. Anybody, any telephone call coming, it irritates you. Why is this person calling me? Oh, I don't want to answer anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. Why are they calling me? I want to be left alone. I just don't want to talk to anybody. Symptoms of depression and anxiety is part of it. It's part of it. Certain things that you do before, certain things that you enjoy before, you just don't want to do it. Some people will say, maybe you like watching movies, maybe you like doing this. All those things you love doing, you will hate them. You will never want to do them. You will never want to watch film. You will never want to do anything that you used to do. because your body doesn't even want anything that gives you joy, and anything that gives you joy is just opposite. Whatever it is that normally give you joy is opposite. That one irritates you. If somebody sings the song that you like, it irritates you. Somebody says the phrase that you like, it irritates you. You get me? So, you see, these are symptoms of depression and anxiety. So, how to deal with depression and anxiety, we're going to do it next week, Thursday. Because I don't want this program to be too long, so that for people who will watch it later, for it to help them, it will not be too long. So we're gonna do how to deal with depression and anxiety next week. So if you suffer, if you see, or if you feel all these symptoms, and then you happen to be, you happen to have suffered from one or two things of the reasons of depression and anxiety, do not be scared. Just know it that your brain is dealing with a lot of things. Sometimes it fizzles out, but sometimes you need help. So the next week, we're going to talk about helps that are out there to deal with depression and anxiety. Yes, so I want to say thank you so very much for coming to this program, for joining us. I really don't wish depression to any of you, but if you happen to be depressed, it's not the end of the world. It's a normal and natural thing that happens when somebody is going through unevenness in life. Because the road to life is not a very straight road. The road to life is very, very narrow. It doesn't work for us the way we wanted it to work. Sometimes it works the other way, or it works the opposite. It's still part of life. Depression and anxiety is still part of life. But the thing is that for you to know that it is happening, for you to know that look at what is happening to you, so that you will be able to ask for help. Because if you do not know what is happening to you, or if you do not know what is happening to your neighbor, to your brother, your sister, or your loved ones, you will not know how to give them help. That's why this program is there. So if you feel any of these symptoms and so on, it's time to seek for help. It's time for you who is, a friend or a relative of somebody who is feeling like this, to really, really empathize with them and give them, the help that they need. Do not judge them. Do not judge them at all, at all. It can be anybody. I remember a pastor who said, one of the members of this pastor has depression and anxiety, and then what the pastor said that the person is mad. The person is not mad. Depression and anxiety is just like somebody who is having headache, tummy ache, and so on. The way your body can be sick, that's the way your brain can be sick. And the way your body can recover, that's exactly how your brain can recover as well. Do you get me? So I wish you all the best. If you're depressed, I know that you will get better. Next week we're gonna talk about how helps, how the helps that you can get if you have depression or anxiety. Then for you who is a friend or relative of somebody who is suffering from anxiety or depression, please do take it easy with them, because it can be anybody. Life can deal with anybody. Life can be anything to anybody. It can be anybody at any time. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so that anytime we go live or we post any content, you will be the first person to see it. We have a lot of things you can even go. We've done a lot of programs on different topics, so you can go and then search what you want, and then it will help you. Our content is quite unique, so thank you so much. I love you so much, and until I see you, I remain your loved evergreen, and I'm signing out. Peace. Bye. Okay.